the last time you released an album? Oh, take a look at that. You have been releasing music. You've been releasing music, but nobody has heard it. Nobody is listening, buddy. This Billboard gaffe didn't simply make Jim seem ridiculous. It totally damaged his entire argument is about becoming the best. But instead of giving up, Jim kept the pace up. And things heated up again during his sit-down on Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. At first, Jim tried to play it cool by giving Nas accolades for arriving early. Influence existed, but it was short-lived. He instantly changed the tone and began asking how much of that effect it has truly stuck throughout the years. It began when Shannon simply inquired, "Were you sober when you declared your Ajim's question? Is there a better rapper than Nas? MHM. You're a smoker, right? Yeah. Were you smoking when you said you're better than Nas? I might have been a little bit. Well, let's get this right. I'm far more influential than Nas, and I don't care what anybody says. I know I made it. I know I made a small mistake. When you talk about sales and all this kind of but, I don't feel like getting into the rhetoric about where I started or where Hugh is saying that. But listen, Nas was good to me in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Nas was awesome. We appreciate him. He had a little run, but Nas always came in second to JDMX, and everyone else as if he never had that type. We never had that kind of influence on us except for his first album. I previously told you I used to want to dress like Nas since he had a lot of new things that the hustlers used. We used to see him on television. He released one of the worst albums of all time, and later in high school, he had a cookout like that. So, I am a fan of Nas, but he lost me after Bell, the movie Belly. As if I'm not going forward with that. Jim, I'm trying to tell you something. I'm being a fan. I'm telling you from the film Belly were on fire, but after that, he sort of lost me. I don't believe we were too much. Jim reacted angrily. Not only did he say every word, but he also claimed to be more influential than Nas too. That is a strange claim. Then Jim mentioned Dipset's short-lived dispute within the early 2000s. Nas said, "We the ones that went wild on them boys." Pointing to their 2003 tune, "I really mean it," as if it were a huge event. He attempted to spin it as if Dipset had Nas on the ropes. Shannon wasn't letting that slide though. He pushed back forcefully, claiming, "Nas completely outperforms Jim when it comes to lyrics. I'm not sure who told you that, but you aren't seeing Nas." Nonetheless, Jim did not flinch. He issued the challenge once more, instructing Nas to meet him in the booth if he truly wanted to resolve it. Nas currently has more records than you. So, you're capping. You're capping. That is what you are doing. First and foremost, man, I am a greater Nas fan than you are. You're capping. First and foremost, I will not be singing any rap. I didn't be singing any rap. Do you see what I am saying? Oh, he doesn't even know about rap. He's just doing it for the views, to get Jim Jones on there and make him hot. He even challenged Shannon to meet with him. He could smoke at the gym if he really wanted to. Complete chaos. This is where Jim absolutely lost control. We're talking full-blown breakdown mode. Fans ripped him apart online and dragged Jim in the comments left and right while Shannon clapped back, effectively stating, "Let's be real, Jim. He needs our show far more than we do. You should definitely check out the episode. Now, you should talk to the largest podcast you've ever been on. One record, this is the largest podcast you've ever been on. Do you happen to know which podcast this is? Hold on. No, this name is bigger than this. When you are huge, you are welcomed to shake. Here's what I do. N gets invited to the club, by the club. SH. You aren't at that level yet. Man, a young person relaxes. Chill out. Bro, you're dealing with the incorrect one. Man. Right here. Brother. I don't care what you have to say. Man. You may as well take me off. Hey. We are here. You can't leave me alone, brother. You could out me, but you won't out top me. Who wants to go to Club Shay? Nobody wants to get VIP seats to that. Nobody is racing to go to it. Biggest you've ever been on Club SH. But Jim wasn't going to let it slip. He hopped on Instagram and issued another challenge, this time calling Shannon out over a gym battle. He even posted a video of himself doing out, attempting to appear tough, with the remark, "Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe, don't start dodging now. Are you going to talk like a podcaster, or walk what you talk? My sneakers are knotted." He said, "You already challenged me in front of the world. Might as well finish." Champ Oinko says he doesn't want to do the job in public. Therefore, let's do it private. I know his reputation as an athlete is on the line. As long as you are the witness, wouldn't be afraid to face problems. Size doesn't matter where I'm from. Just run it. But instead of hyping folks up, the entire gym flex blew up in his face. Fans swarmed the comments to mock him, saying things like, he got wheelchair legs and he was called a cornball for begging for clout at the age of nearly 50. The internet was merciless, so what about NAS? Yes, he did answer. But we'll get to that in a moment. Here's the thing, calling this a real quarrel. This is primarily Jim Jones stuck in the past, clinging to a long-since-died grudge. For years, it all started in 2003, when Cameron and the Diplomats, including Jim, took jabs at Nas on mixtapes and radio freestyles. Then in 2005, Nas gave them the ultimate cold shoulder. In a recently unearthed video, he simply said, Jim isn't even worth dissing. He brushed it off, saying, nobody's looking for Jim. He never made anyone nervous with his bars. If it was Jim Jones, imagine writing about him. He was kind. How did you do that? And what was the first sentence? What the you raw? I'm not eager to hear the Jim Jones diss that used to have a little nervous was like Vipop, right? And cannabis like Eminem. We need to be like, if we go at it dog, we're going to go hard. You know what I mean? But these like a Jim Jones. I mean, I respect you receiving your money. And you are like, exactly, but let's examine why you aren't respecting his lyrical game right now. I respect his hustle. That Is Nas Hip Hop Is Dead album was released around a year after the Cold disc. And even though it ruffled feathers throughout the industry, nobody took it worse than Jim Jones. In an interview with S.com, Jim became so enraged that he vowed to slap Nas. He remarked, Nas, I enjoy Nas' new song. I'll still slap the holy life out of him, but I enjoy his new song, Where My Thugs Are. That joint is kind of slick. He got a few bars in there. But aside from that, I enjoy music, therefore I cannot ever, but I'm willing to hit him in the mouth if necessary. Isn't that wild? Even though he commended the track, he maintained his enthusiasm as if he were about to throw hands. But, while Jim was out here doing the most, Nas remained calm and detached, never acknowledging the chaos. Still, Jim refused to give up. Fast forward to October 2008. Jim's on another interview, this one with Rhapsody.com, and he took off. He said, F Nas, I don't give a F about Nas. He's a rapper that just lost his pizzazz. He also told a story of Ron into Nas and Dame Dash at a Ferrari store, stating Nas wasn't even created that way. Jim said, Dame, I was lying back on the couch, laughing, when I noticed him and began talking to him. I didn't know what to do. I was looking straight at him. Then Dame was like, I know. Jim, he said, stammering. Dame simply burnt out. But he is not thinking about any of such silly stuff. I am neither. Then he reiterated that Nas was never on my level, ever. But here's the crazy thing. Jim kept repeating the drama didn't matter, but his Theon person is still slinging shade and keeping grudges. Nas is still silent. Didn't even flinch after 2008. Things finally settled down. No more public disses. No more turmoil. In fact, Jim began switching up, demonstrating respect for Nas' legacy, and even revealing that he reached out to collaborate. But Nas didn't even try to punch him back. Complete silence. I actually contacted Nas to I'm doing my right now because I really want him to be on the record? No, but we still have a handful of mutual pals and like this. Actually reached out to Nas. I sent him the record. I received an answer from him, not directly, but through the pals that he handed him my phone number. I was told that he wanted to holler at me and like that because he enjoyed the record. That was something else than Dipset. Whatever came before Dipset. I just want to put that on record. Nas was totally old school hip-hop. He said, nobody's playing Nas in the club. Ain't nobody riding around to Nas. They riding to me. I admired Nas, but remember Nas first. For the record, The Barbecue came out when I was in 11th grade. So Nas was my idol when I was younger. Do you like to dig? Dressing, wordplay, music, and everything else followed. I was a huge Nas fan, period. I'll never take that away from him. But then, when I got into the game, you gotta recognize that rivals are idols. Not to take away from ITI, establish my own style in my own lane. And these kids begin to draw towards me in the same way that I gravitated toward Nas when I was younger, and so on. It is an entirely different generation. Fans went bananas in the comments, calling it outright delusional. Then came the notorious rap Mount Rushmore part. Jim was asked to name his top 4 performers from his era. Of course, he left Nas off the list completely. When called out, he did not back down. Instead, he stated, "I do not owe Nas anything. That doesn't imply I got a fake. Give him props. That merely adds fuel to an already messy situation." Saga. Despite all of his efforts, Nas still isn't biting. There are no tweets, interviews, or covert It's like he's in an entirely other league than Jim. Outside the venue, people were hammering on the doors. At this point, even Jim's own admirers are beginning to question his infatuation. People are leaving comments asking why he keeps pulling Nas into every interview when Nas has clearly moved on. Others claim it gives midlife crisis figure. Correct? Jim is chasing a ghost he cannot catch. But here's the kicker. After all the hubbub, all the challenges, and all the shots fired by Nas still owns all of the cards. He's not fueling the flames. He is letting silence speaks. And it is louder than anything Jim has screamed. So, now, the real question is, how far is Jim willing to go before realizing he's the only one left in the game? This is the wild part. Jim used to shower Nas with adoration. He openly claimed that Nas was one of his main influences. In interviews, he was even referred to as the Goa. Even when Nas snubbed his plea for a collaboration, Jim persisted, pleading publicly yet still displaying affection as if he was looking for a miracle feature. But now Jim has inverted the whole script. He moved from declaring Nas a legend to claiming he barely rates him, as if Nas is simply an theraper, dismissing his entire legacy as if it didn't matter. The switch-up is anything. On June 21st, Nas uploaded an image on Instagram, chilling at a private dinner with LeBron James, Draymond Green, and a few prominent black CEOs. It is unnecessary to include a caption. The message said, "You can't sit with us." The fans got it right away. The comment section erupted with adoration. People said this was the classiest, most devastating way to reduce all of Jim's noise. Something like, "This is how you silence a one-hit wonder." And sometimes the most honest answer is no answer at all. Nas did not need bars. The supper photos spoke for itself. And let's be honest, who still expects Nas to clap back at Jim? He plainly does not know Nas at all. This individual has been operating at a completely different level for decades, and if you need a reminder, listen to one of his coldest bars yet. "It's unusual that I listen to guys who've never been in my position. A caterpillar cannot relate to what an eagle sees." Right, there. That's everything you need to know. Nas won't waste time reacting to someone throwing tantrums for clicks is built differently. He's soaring at heights that Jim can't even see. Let Alan Ariak. This is not a rivalry. It is a one-man yelling contest, and the other man is too busy dining with billionaires. So, since Jim is out, here Nas is dropping challenges and flexing in the gym, and he moves like royalty. Unconcerned, undisturbed, and completely unfazed. Silence is not a sign of weakness. Rather, it indicates dominance. And that concludes this strange one-sided saga. If you enjoyed the breakdown, please like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next jaw-dropping star meltdown. Trust. There is always more. Where did that come from? And do not go nowhere. Select the next video you watch on your screen to capture even more wild celebrity turmoil. Nasty feuds. And they don't see the pandemonium behind the scenes. I'd like you to know about this. We will catch you on the next. Because you aren't in my top 50, you may be in Charlemagne's top 50 and so on, but you have not done that. A lot has happened in my life. As if I never wanted to be pushy. I didn't. I never experienced a push moment. Imagine writing about Jim Jones. He was quite kind. He was quite friendly to him. How did you do that? I am concerned about right now. I've been getting busy. I'm outside. I've been setting an excellent example. Did you hear? I have been heard. Jimmy, I broke that in 30 minutes. I reached out to Nas to actually whoa, I'm doing chicken head right now because I really want him to be on this record. I don't really know who Nas is. If he says no, but he knows who my son is. My son can't tell you a single Nas record. Did you hear? Like, let's keep it $1 here. You created a comparison between yourself and Nas, man. Everybody is talking about it now. Why? Out of everyone you pick. Nas bro. I did not do it. They asked him question Jim Jones. isn't just taking smooth shots at Nas anymore. Now he is out here? We're talking about pulling up for real. But let's be honest, Nas barely notices him. When he finally responded, it was so cold and contemptuous that Jim had another collapse. Need this isn't your typical rap beef? It's more like Jim is carrying on to a resentment that Nas let go decades ago. This drama dates back to the early 2000s, when diplomats took shots at Nas on mixtapes. Back then, it was just bars and hidden messages. But Nas did not flinch. He scarcely acknowledged him. Here's where things get wild. An old tape has just come back online where Nas Straight Jim was humiliated, treated as if he didn't exist. He's not even worth the effort. That is the vibe Nas put off. Jip Jones' head must be really troubled right now. You'd assume that was the end, right? Nope. Fast forward all of these years later, Jim hasn't let it go. He even got brazen at one point, threatening to slap Nas. Jim has recently been lashing out at everyone who disputes his assertion that he is somehow superior to Nas in the rap game. And now that he's actually stating he'll pull up on Nas, the internet erupted. Fans are dragging Jim, dubbing him a washed-up rapper desperate for relevance. This time, they are not just laughing, they're calling him out a lot. These threats might have been the last straw. Let us not get into that place we get into numbers, and I got to show you the statistics of what I've accomplished. You heard about what other people had done. Did you hear? To go to the Billboard entries, pull up N's billboard.entries, then display my Billboard entries. Jim Jones unable to quit talking about pulling up. But Nez could care less. On the Bag Fuel episode, Jim attempted to spark more criticism, stating that his statements brought Nas back into the spotlight. He even claimed Nas hadn't gone viral like that since Ether. Seriously, that's a bold move. Nas's idea was most likely never realized in his life. He's never has not been particularly viral. Ever. He's never been talked about like this before in his life. Has nothing. Do you dig? Last time he was in a situation like this, people were comparing what he and Jay were about to say. Did you hear? Then Jim turned the heat up, adding that all of the other rappers from his period are terrified to go bar to bar with him. Booth, of course. He crowned himself the best of that entire generation. Again, I was just like, I'm where I am. I am at the pinnacle of what I do. Did you hear? So I'm talking about now. Did you hear? Currently, nobody from my vintage wants to get busy or go into the booth with me right now. Now, this is that's correct, Jack. You've heard it. Otherwise, they would have risen up a long time ago. Hoot at me. But it did not end there. Jim pulled out a huge wad of cash midway through daring Nas or anybody can handle problems face to face. Wild. But here's the deal. No one's staking the bait. Not Nas or his peers. Nobody is showing up. All Jims, actually. This shows how desperate and chaotic the situation has become. Right now, the real person, and it isn't a money issue, but this is here. Did you hear? If you want to become busy, money is on the line. What do any of you from my generation care about right now? I've been getting busy. If you missed it, the chaos began earlier this month on the Joe and Jada podcast. Jim was discussing how his opinion of Nas shifted as he became more involved in the rap game. When Fat Joe brought up a youngster comparing him to Nas on Instagram, Jim clapped back right away, stating people should check his Billboard stats and said he will always prefer himself to any rapper, period. I recently saw a clip on Instagram of a little kid was comparing you to Nas and claiming that you had massive hits. Yo, he looked at you. He learned to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He received his goodies. Like, how crazy is that? Because, in my time, you understand what I'm saying. N is like a deity in my era as well. So, to be compared, let me be youthful. Kid. Let me let myself be youthful, and we adore that he loved you, but I want you. Let us not get into that place we get into the figures, and I got to show you the statistics of what I've accomplished. You heard about what other people had done. You've heard that. You want to go to the Billboard entries. Pull up both ends and my Billboard entries. Listen, we can't go into what I am attempting to go there. No, to want to go down the line, right now since I am already going down the line. No. He is a rapper, and I am a rapper. Listen, let's go. Statistically. Feels fantastic. No, but I want to go statistically because people are like, I feel the same way about the figures. There is nothing. It's never me versus anyone else. I take you every time. Each time, but here's the kicker. Billboard flags backfired spectacularly. A billboard came through with, Jim has only had 2 Hot 100 singles as a solo artist, with only one of them reaching the top 10. Meanwhile, Nas has 27 Hot 100 entries and 2 top 10 hits. When it comes to Jim's CDs appeared on the Billboard 200 3 times. Nas has 27 hits, 16 of which are in the top 10, and 6 of which reach number 8 or higher. So, who exactly is in charge now? Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should not have brought this up. You're only 3 years apart. Yet Nas is essentially murdering you. You requested us to look up. Here are the statistics. Like Jim Jones, you have a few songs. To mean, literally, it is a couple, but we are talking about Nas. Let me show Nas' last endeavors. Nas has been getting it in since 2018. Jimmy, when was the last time you released an album? Oh, take a look at that. You have been releasing music. You've been releasing music, but nobody has heard it. Nobody is listening, buddy. This Billboard gaffe didn't simply make Jim seem ridiculous. It totally damaged his entire argument is about becoming the best. But instead of giving up, Jim kept the pace up. And things heated up again during his sit-down on Nightcap with Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson. At first, Jim tried to play it cool by giving Nas accolades for arriving early. Influence existed, but it was short-lived. He instantly changed the tone and began asking how much of that effect it has truly stuck throughout the years. It began when Shannon simply inquired, "Were you sober when you declared you're influential than Nas? And I don't care what anybody says. I know I made it. I know I made a small mistake. When you talk about sales, I started, or where he was saying that. But listen,